So this talk is how to be good at fitness. So it's not. Just close the door. So it's not a talk about like how to get jacked or how to like be really good at deadlifts or how to be good at bench press or anything like that. I promise. So this is more for people who have said to themselves at some point in time, I really want to go to the gym, but I find like it's really hard to get off my ass and actually do it. So let's start. The most important thing, by far, and the thing that will have the most effect on everyone is making an actual habit. And this is like a really obvious thing to everyone. I'm sure all you know this, and some of you tried. So how do we make it an actual habit? There's this really interesting book, I don't know if any of you read it, it's called The Power of Habit, and it breaks down the three components of habits. That being, there's a cue, there's a routine, and there's a reward. And you can see this with any habit, whether it be like going out for a smoke or getting up and like getting a snack, anything really. Now, the first habit, the primary habit that prevents us from going to the gym is really like the couch habit. Like we go home, we sit down, and that's the point in time when most people want to try to go to the gym. They're already at home, they're settled in, they're like, all right, now I can go to the gym, but I'm really, really comfortable here. So that's kind of what we want to change and what we want to rewire. And the cue here is that the workday ends. And what we end up doing is we are going home and we're settling and we're taking off our jacket, putting our stuff down, sitting down on the couch. And the reward is that we're feeling better, we're relaxed, we're comfortable and whatnot. So every single time we do this, we're just reinforcing the idea of skipping the gym and just sitting at home. The way that we change this to go to the gym is the fitness habit. And so when the workday ends, a really easy way to get into the habit of going to the gym is to actually go straight from work to the gym. And while that sounds really obvious, there are some easy ways to get into this. And this is actually how I started my habit. Like I didn't start out saying, all right, I'm going to make a habit out of going to the gym. I just, what I would do is I would pack all my stuff into my bag when I went to class. And right from class, I would go to the gym because I already had my shit with me. I didn't have to go home. I didn't have to go pick up my stuff from the gym. And so what you really want to do is you want to reduce any friction there is to making a decision to go to the gym. This makes it really easy because you have two different places to go. The decision to put stuff into your gym bag is really easy, or to your work bag is really easy. There's no like, oh, I really don't want to put this stuff in my bag. That's super easy. When you already have it in your bag, it's not that difficult to just either go here or go there, there being the gym. So that makes it really easy. And then the reward is, of course, the actual, going to the gym. You get the endorphins and the feeling of, hey, I did this. I did a really good job. So I honestly attribute that small little change in my life 10 years ago to leading me to where I am now, which is 10 years of making it like a full, strong habit in my life. And I should mention that what I'm talking about, the examples I make are going to the gym, but this applies more generally to like really anything, but also like running or swimming, whatever fitness habit you want to make. So out of anything that you might want to do, skip like trying to be good at deadlifts or like special routines, just do this one thing and make it a habit. And what'll happen is once it's a habit, the rest will follow. Like you'll get better at, you'll get to a point where you want to improve certain things that you are doing in your habit. So how do we make it stick? Once we're at the gym, sometimes like it feels weird and you're like, all right, I'm not getting the reward that I want, because the reward is a crucial part of making that habit stick. Most important parts of making it stick are simplicity, repetition, and progression. As far as simplicity, you want to avoid feeling lost by having an idea of what you want to do before arriving. So it's really common to just walk into a gym and be like, all right, there's a lot of shit here. I don't really know what I'm doing. Let me walk around and just try some stuff out, and maybe that'll work. That feeling of being lost is really unpleasant and will make you not want to go again. So as long as you have an idea of what you want to do beforehand, like, hey, I want to just work out my chest today, or I want to work out my legs, or I want to get stronger in the deadlift, or whatever it may be. Always go in having a plan, and that'll just remove that friction there. Stick to compound movements. And so what this means is a good way to identify compound movements are movements where multiple joints are moving. So for example, the bench press, you've got your shoulders and you've got your elbows moving. And so what's happening is you're engaging multiple muscles. An isolation workout will be one where it's primarily just a single joint moving. And so bicep curl, all it's moving is your elbow, right? And so, what was that?
Like a unit test.
Yeah, precisely. Avoid unit test.
Now I understand.
Right? Yeah. So the reason that this is good is because, first of all, compound movements, from a technical standpoint, are the greatest releases of natural growth hormones. And so they'll just naturally cause you to build muscle and recover better. Also, it is easy, it's easy to just do maybe 4 workouts, a bench press, a deadlift, a squat, and a shoulder press. And if you do those 4 things constantly and just always try to improve those things, you will see crazy results. This is what I had my wife doing for a period of time, and in the course of a couple of months, she made more progress than she had ever made in her entire experience in the gym. It's like it does make a difference, right? And so you want to, and that's all she did. I would have her go in, and she would do 1 workout per workout session. She would do just bench press, or just squat, or just deadlift. And like when you have something that simple, it's much less likely that you're going to feel resistance to going. So those 4, just stick with that. In the same vein, avoid fancy machinery and movements. You might see people doing hip bridges where they're laying down, they got a bar on their hip and moving up, or all kinds of crazy stuff. You'll see chest flies, or all sorts of cable machines or hammer strength machines. While those are useful for more advanced workouts, they're not necessary. You can just stick with basic free weight workouts. Like, our biology hasn't changed that much that all of a sudden this new technology is going to be better for us than just picking stuff up, what our body's meant to do. So just stick with the basic stuff. And once again, in the same vein, avoid fads and trends like P90X or CrossFit or these sorts of things. They can be useful, but it's harder to make a habit out of it when you have this larger learning curve. Repetition. I feel this even after, so like I injured myself, so I haven't been able to go to the gym for the past couple weeks. And so even a couple weeks, I'll walk in and it feels awkward to do the exercise. And everybody who walks in will feel weird doing these exercises. It doesn't feel right. And so it's really important, like this is very natural. It's very important to just keep doing the same thing over and over again, because your body, there are these stabilizer muscles that will engage when you work out that aren't built up normally. So like you're not naturally built up to just do bench press, because there is stabilizer that has to happen there. Once you've built up those stabilizers and made that neurological connection to that movement, you will feel much more comfortable, feel much more natural after having repeated it for months. Really, I'm talking about keep doing the same thing for months or years on end. I know it might get boring, but one of the things that makes us enjoy what we do is being good at it. And so one of the important things is to make sure you get good at it by repeating it. So the same thing, repeat the same exercises every week. Progression. This is also very important because this is what's going to motivate you to continue going on, have goals, whether they're arbitrary or not. And so if you were to think about, hey, I want to have 18-inch arms, or I want to deadlift 400 pounds, like those are mostly arbitrary goals. And somebody on the outside might look at it and be like, that's kind of silly, because what's the benefit of that? But they're about as arbitrary as, hey, I want to climb Mount Everest. Like, in your everyday life, there isn't much utility to like being able to climb a large mountain. So in the same way, I do recommend having just arbitrary goals. It could be like, oh, hey, summer's coming up and I want to look great, so let me just work towards that. Or I've got an event coming up, I want to fit into these clothes, let me work out for that. Or I just want to get big, or I just want to get strong. So always have a goal that you can work towards. Always aim to do the same exercise but better. So since you're going to be repeating it all the time, it's important that you're not just going in and doing the same thing over and over again. Either try to do more repetitions, or try to do more weight, or try to improve your form every single time. And as long as you are doing this and making sure that the number, whatever it is that you are quantifying it by, is going up, you will progress, and over years, because this stuff takes years, you will improve. Embrace plateaus and regression. And so there's this book that I will mention at the end called Mastery, and it's one of the most important books in my life that has kind of changed the way I've looked at certain things. And part of it is that you should embrace the fact that sometimes in the process of mastering something and improving at something, you will hit plateaus and you will regress. And as long as you understand that and you accept that as part of the process, it won't hold you back from continuing to go on. Because if you see that as like, all right, well, now what do I do? It will stop you and you won't continue this habit. And always lift the heaviest weight you are able to with good form. And this doesn't only apply to men, but it also applies to women. So regardless of what your goals are, you don't have to necessarily want to get big and jacked or like super strong. The reality is that, and this is a problem that it's a misconception that many women have, is I don't want to lift heavy weight because I don't want to look like a man. The reality is it's extremely, first of all, if you look at the guys who are jacked, like the amount of work that they put into it is insane. The amount of dedication they put into it is insane. And for women who are big and bulky, it's even much more so because you just aren't biologically built to do that. You don't have the testosterone. And so as long as you lift the heaviest you're able to, what will happen is you will actually just look fit. Like you will just look like you're in shape. One of the nice things about getting in shape is you don't just get bulky, your body just forms into a nice shape. So you take what's kind of like, amorphous blob, and, it starts becoming more structured, and that's kind of what you're aiming for. So like in that, with respect to that, like don't watch the scale. That's usually weight, unless you're a wrestler or a boxer, weight is an irrelevant number. It's just kind of a proxy to how do I look. And so more than that, just watch, like look at the mirror. Like, is my body improving? All right, so some notes on recovery. There's a saying that the results that you get from exercise are maybe 1/3 in the gym, and then 1/3 in the kitchen, and then 1/3 in your bed. Because if you are working out as hard as you can, but you're not eating right and you're not recovering, it's not going to matter. So to start off with nutrition, I just want to keep things really simple. I don't want to give you any numbers or anything like that. It's a fairly good rule that has worked well I'm not a nutritionist. I don't look into stuff too much, but it's worked well for me. Every meal that you have, you make sure that you have a fairly even distribution of. I'm talking about like just look at it. You don't have to like count the calories or the macronutrients of each thing. Just look. Do I have 1/3 of my plate is proteins, 1/3 of my plate is carbs, and 1/3 of my plate is vegetables? If you just do that, you're in really good shape. You're way better off than most people. The other thing is having a balanced diet, making sure that you are getting all the nutrients you need. And a really easy rule to do that is to eat different colors. So if you're eating a lot of like beige and brown, chances are you're eating too many carbs, right? And not enough vegetables and fruits. So just incorporate some green, incorporate some, red. And, just doing that, you'll see, makes it really easy to make good decisions about nutrition. Avoid processed foods and sauces. So like this isn't something that many people will say, but sauces are probably the easiest way to remove shitty things out of your diet. A lot of times they're either full of sugar, full of starch, or full of fat. And while fats aren't bad, that's the next point. A lot of times sauces won't help you towards being healthier. And so, if you are thinking about getting sesame chicken, an easier option or a better option might just be grilled chicken. It's simple things like this, like avoid mayonnaise or ketchup. So you can still eat like really good, enjoyable food. You can eat French fries because it's just a carb. You know, you can eat burgers. You know, fats are okay. You know, just avoid the sauces and the processed foods. The closer you are to the source of the food, the better. Carbs and fats are okay. You know, having a diverse macronutrient profile, that means eating carbs. And fats, certain fats are healthy, and that's where your like omega-3s are coming from. So don't feel like you need to cut out all like rice and pasta and bread out of your life. It's okay, as long as it's in good proportion to other things. And so the way that you can modify your actual body composition by either losing fat or gaining muscle is regulate just the overall quantity. You don't have to count carbs or count calories. It's very simple. If you are gaining weight, reduce your quantity. You know, still keep the same even distribution, but just make the plate smaller. If you are losing weight and your goal is to get bigger, just increase the quantity. And that's it. It's simple. So like during the summer, I'll eat 4 eggs and half a bowl of oatmeal. During the winter, when I'm trying to gain weight, I'll eat 6 eggs and a full bowl of oatmeal.
It's the entire winter?
Yeah, I'll just like I'll partition it. So every day I'll have 6 eggs and a full bowl of oatmeal, and it's just that simple. You know, if you want to, you can maybe eat half a Chipotle burrito. You know, if you're trying to lose weight, that's it. It's that simple. And then the rest part is easy. Sleep a lot, because sleep is where your body recovers. That's where it rebuilds all the muscle that you've broken down. Since when you're exercising, you're essentially breaking down muscle to rebuild improved. Sleep is also when your body releases natural growth hormones. And so natural growth hormones are part of what make you tall. And so if there's anything that's going to stunt your growth when you're a kid, not sleeping enough is one of those things. And so my wife is 11 and a half, maybe like a quarter of an inch or half an inch taller than me. And I would tell her that when I was a kid, I never slept because all I wanted to do was play video games. And she's so mad because a lot of women, she wants me to be taller than her, but whatever. So, all right. So other wisdom, and I hope that when you guys are hearing me say these things, understand this is like 10 years in the making. This is something that I'm really passionate about, and these are things that I've tried and tested over time, and these things actually work. And I put everything in here very intentionally, and because they are very important. And I think that they're the simplest things that you can do that will have the most effect. So when you're in the gym, one of the most important things is to respect the gym and respect the people around you. And this applies also to anything else like running or any other sport that you're doing. The reason is because there are a lot of people around you who take it very seriously, and for you to not respect this environment where they are doing something serious to improve their lives, it'll not only reflect poorly upon you, but people around you. So like one of the problems that people have is they say, oh, when I'm in the gym, everyone's judging me. And they're all big and huge, and they're lifting a lot of weight, and they think they're better than me. The reality is nobody's judging you. There might be a little like competition. Usually that's competition between like, oh, I'm benching 300 pounds while the other guy's benching 250. Like that's not going to affect you. What the reality is that a lot of times people who are new to the gym, they don't have experience with it, so they don't know what they're doing there, and they are disrespectful they're not mindful of the people around them. And so that manifests itself in, leaving weights around, jumping into a weight machine or an exercise that somebody's already using and without any care for whether or not they're doing it. Maybe somebody's trying to check their form in the mirror and you just stand right in front of them. And so they're very easy things to do because they're not things that you'd normally think about in normal day life. But if you just think about, all right, right now, what am I doing and how does this affect the people around me? How does this affect what they're able to do, and how does this affect their psychology? As long as you consider that, you'll be in a good place, and you'll gain the respect of the people around you, and they might be willing to help you out. Like, it's little things like, am I texting on my phone, and am I talking on the phone? While that, just texting on your phone might not seem like a big deal, the reality is that the environment and the people around you affect your own motivation. You know, if everybody's sitting around being, you know, working seriously, and then one person's just dicking around, you know, it's gonna affect them and demotivate them. So that's one of the reasons why they have signs all over the gym. Don't text or use your cell phones in the gym. Use it in specific locations. Look good, feel good, play good. This is a saying in a lot of sports, and it sounds silly, but it actually works. And so you'll see football players, though, if you see football players, they wear these little bands on their arms. And these have this amazing utility of what they do is they actually make their biceps look bigger. And why does that matter? It doesn't matter as far as like what are they physically able to do, but since so much of what you're capable of doing with physically is related to your state of mind, feeling good about yourself and feeling strong, feeling athletic has a large impact on what you're able to do. So I wouldn't go in there like dressed, you know, like a slob. You don't have to like, don't do your makeup, don't like, you know, do your hair just for the gym, or like, don't, you know, oh, I got to shave now because I got to look good for the gym. Just wear something that you feel strong and something that you feel athletic in, and it'll make a huge difference on your motivation and your performance. Listen to music to focus and drown out distractions. This is more of a personal preference, so this is maybe less important, but I find that if I don't have music on, it's very easy to get distracted by my environment, so things that are happening around me, whether that be people talking or things falling or weird things happening on the TV. And it also is easy to get distracted by my own thoughts. You know, you start thinking about, all right, well, I got to go home and buy some groceries, this and that, and it just takes you away from what you're doing. At this point in time, for me, exercising is kind of like a Zen practice, and I just get to go there and clear my mind and focus. Completely ignore tech and trends, and I kind of touched on this earlier, but ignore the apps, ignore the Fitbits, ignore all that bullshit, because the reality is that, you know, the basics, the really fundamental things work really, really, really well. And until you get exceedingly good at those things, these things won't help you get there more than focusing on improving those things will. So just ignore it completely and surround yourself with serious people. So if you go to, no offense to anyone who's a member of Planet Fitness, but I absolutely hate Planet Fitness because of it's like they have a war on people who are just serious about the gym. But if you surround yourself with people that are serious, like I said, they're not judging you, and just being around, just like being here at thoughtbot encourages me to be a good programmer, improve my code design. Same thing with being at the gym with serious people. It doesn't matter if you're not strong or you're new to it and you don't know what you're doing. People who go in there with the right mindset and are respectful will gain the respect of everyone around them. And if you see somebody who maybe is really out of shape, maybe very overweight, but they're busting their ass in the gym, everyone at the gym will have a lot of respect for that person. It doesn't matter if you're out of shape. And so recommended reading, I mentioned The Power of Habit already. It just talks about ways to kind of change existing habits, add new habits, or remove old habits. And then Mastery, which is the book that I found to be, I would say, as cheesy as it sounds, life-changing, because not only does it teach you to appreciate the process of improving, it teaches you to always seek improvement. So it just puts you in this mindset of lifelong improvement. That's it. Any questions?
So on the topic of habits, you're talking about make it simple every day that you go to the gym, putting all your clothes in your bag. But you've got rest days as well, right? So if you're trying to break the trend of you going home and sitting on the couch, and every second day you get a rest day anyway. Yeah. It's both the habits are still present.
Right.
How do you deal with that?
Yeah, so I think it's okay that you have the habit of going home as long as you intended to not go to the gym. You know, so kind of the reinforcement that you're getting if you go to the gym or you go home and you stay at home when your intention was to go to the gym. The habit that you're reinforcing there is to ignore your original intentions. So as long as you have that intention to go to the gym and you put your stuff in the bag on the days that you want to go and you follow through with that, you will constantly reinforce that. And then all it really takes for you to go to the gym is just putting stuff in a bag. That's it. You know, that's why it gets so easy once you can do that, because you don't have to like have all this willpower to like get off the couch. You just have to have enough willpower to throw stuff in a bag. This can work for running too. You know, if you know, there are other things that you can do to create a habit out of it and to like jumpstart your motivation. You can just put on your running shoes, and you know, if running is your thing and you want to, and you're sitting there, you're like, all right, maybe it's the morning and I really want to go running, but it's cold outside. I don't know, whatever it is, just put on the running shoes, and a lot of times that small action will make you actually go do it. And so for me, I've gotten past the point where I need to bring my stuff in my bag. But there will be days that I'll get home and I don't really want to go to the gym. So I have this supplement that I take called pre-workout. And it's like, the intention of it is to get you all jazzed up to go to the gym. You know, it's caffeine and just kind of hypes you up. But that aside, the reason that it's helped my habit is because it just creates this trigger. Like once I drink it, I know, all right, it's gym time. And there's a little other psychology behind it, like I paid for this stuff, so I better like put it to use. Like if I don't go, it's a waste. You know, I don't know if that answered your question.
No, that makes sense. But yeah, I think you really hit it on the head with all that. Like, believe it or not, I used to be a gym rat. Like when I was in college, there was a gym on the same floor where my room was. So I just go and like work out all the time.
Yeah.
And I got pretty jacked. Like not quite as big as you, but I was like, you know, pretty good.
Yeah.
Like whatever. And like I did taekwondo and stuff. And, like analyze all kinds of things. I did like the caffeine thing. They have caffeine, ephedrine, tyrosine, and aspirin, which is now illegal.
Yeah.
It was really
The ECA stack, right?
And what's that?
The ECA stack, right?
Yeah, that's
Yep.
the one. And so basically, I found like the habit was key. And yeah, it was really similar stuff. Like just put on the gym clothes even if I didn't feel like it, and then I feel like great. I just got a little bit healthier. And then I'd go there and I'd just kind of be in the mindset and then just do it.
Right.
And likewise, like I'd go to my friends and be like, hey, let's go work out together. And then they'd want to go and chat and shit and leave me alone and work with me.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. But what I found was that like my key motivation was getting paid. And once that started happening, I stopped going to the gym. So that's where I am now.
Yeah. Well, but that makes sense though, because your goal can be whatever you want it to be. Like don't think that like, oh hey, my goal's petty or like silly. It doesn't matter. Like the goal will get you to this other behavior that is also another goal of yours. You want to be fit. So as long as you have a goal, like it works out.
Like yeah, so like right now it's like I'm trying to get myself into being like, no, it's healthy. Like, you know, I just want to not die. And oddly enough, that's less of a motivator.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think even arbitrary ones like, hey, I do want to lift 400 pounds. It's not useful in my life. It's still a motivator because it's like, hey, this is something interesting for me to work towards and figure out. Like it's almost like a little puzzle that I need to crack through just repetition and improvement. You know.
How long did it take you before you didn't need to throw yourself in the gym?
I did that all throughout college, so it was about 4 years that I was doing that. And even, I mean, after I would say maybe 6 months or so, I probably could have stopped. It was still just really helpful, given the environment. Like I was at school and I could just walk to the gym. It's actually similar in New York because you could just walk to the gym here. There's one on 38th Street.
Have you had like I find I'll do really great at something for like 6 months and then I'll get injured or I'm moving or some life change fall out of the habit. Like have you had periods where you really fell out of the habit and how did you find yourself motivated to get back?
Yeah, so I don't know if the questions are showing up on these things, but if they're not, the question was, have I ever fallen out of the habit due to life circumstances, because life happens, and how do I get back into it? And yes, that happens to me all the time. The holidays just came up. This just happened to me. I injured my shoulder. I haven't been able to go to the gym since Christmas, even though I want to. But there are other situations where I might be exercising because I want to be fit for my wedding and for my honeymoon because I'm going to be on the beach. And then after the honeymoon, it's like, well, what do I need to exercise for? I'm married already, What does it matter? So the main thing with that is picking that arbitrary goal. Because if you don't have the goal, if you don't care about getting laid anymore, if you don't care about being fit for the beach, or you don't care about the 400-pound deadlift anymore, you're not going to want to go, and those life circumstances will pull you out of it, and it'll be hard to get back into it. So that's the main thing, just having a goal to get you back into the routine. And fortunately, at that point in time, you've already kind of gotten past a lot of the barriers that prevent you from starting from zero, which is knowing what you're doing, figuring out your routine.
So you spoke about setting goals. So I understand question, I believe. I've been a runner for many years, and now I'm not, and I want to come back. And I can't because I don't have any member of friend that used to run my car in the mornings. So what I did is decide that this year I should run a marathon. And if I want that to happen, I should work for many months in advance. I should have started. And that will happen very soon because of that goal that I set, and that of course translates to any other sport. Set a concrete goal that you want because you know that it will drive you to do something that's in the end healthy.
Yeah. And it could be arbitrary. It could be running a marathon or competing in a weightlifting competition. Anything. Anyone else? So everyone's gonna go get Jack now? Super Jack. Super Jack.
Thanks,
All right.